This was the most viewed episode in the history of Dragon Ball Super, but so many people were focused on Vegito that they missed out on all the Easter eggs and hidden messages throughout the episode. There were a bunch of Bible references, some animation mistakes, and we actually have the songs that they used throughout the episode. We don't just do in-depth videos, we do in-depth analysis. But before we begin, my friends over at Swag Wave just created an incredible stop motion of Goku Black versus Beerus.
Destruction Wave!
You guys need to subscribe to their YouTube channel and watch that video. If you're Dragon Ball Super fans, you're going to love Beerus versus Goku Black.
Subscribe to Anime Live Reactions for more. Share this video with your friends.
Let's begin with the opening images. There's a throwback to the end of episode 65, and in that episode, they foreshadowed the connection that Haru and Maki have with future Trunks, and this actually explains why they actually showed up on the broken sword, because there is a lot of symbolism going on here. Because these are the two youngest kids that we've seen so far, and because they represent the next generation, that broken sword is pretty much representing that they're never gonna grow old enough to reach adulthood. But if Trunks succeeds, they're going to live and become adults. So that is why he has that deep connection with them, and why he was able to grow the sword into adulthood, just like he wants those kids to grow into adults. And here's something that you may have missed. That's not supposed to be warrior, but warriors. Not with an S, but an apostrophe. So it's supposed to be possessive, not singular. The animation in this episode was absolutely crispy, and a lot of people may consider that Natoshi Shida was the man behind the episode, but that's not actually true. While he was involved in the episode, he didn't have the biggest role, because there were a ton of other animators. Pretty much Dragon Ball Super had their best animators all in one episode, and that is why this episode looked absolutely crispy and beautiful. But it was not just Natoshi Shida. He is the most famous, but he wasn't the only person working on this. Now that song that you heard right there, that's actually not coming from Dragon Ball Super OST. In fact, that song is coming from the Dragon Ball Kai 2014 OST titled Reviving Majin Buu. Let me play it for a little bit. Thank you so much, Norihito Sumitomo. That wasn't the only song. We actually have two more songs from that album, and I'm gonna show you what those songs are somewhere in this video. But I also want you to pay attention to this shot right here, because can you guess who is going to be the Omni King's friend that Goku was talking about? Can you guess? Well, remember, the Omni King said that he needs a friend, and he's gonna be in the next episode. But we have the answer pretty much being foreshadowed here, and I believe that Yajirobe is gonna be that character. That's gonna be the character that's gonna be the Omni King's best friend, because I don't see any other reason why he was brought back to the series besides to prove that point. And it makes a lot of sense actually. His personality, even in front of Bulma, he's able to pick his nose. This guy just doesn't care. So he is the perfect friend for the Omni King. Now I want to clarify this, because Goku did not surpass Zamasu. The only reason that Goku was able to land a few punches and kicks was because Zamasu was so surprised and so in shock that he didn't even move. He didn't even know what was happening. And that's how Goku was able to land a few punches. But they actually made an animation mistake in this shot, so pay attention to this. Now you see the ring of light behind him, right? Now take a look at the next frame. It's gone. It disappeared. The ring of light is gone. But then if you look in the next frame, it's there again. So they definitely did an animation mistake, and there's a few more throughout the episode. Now some people were confused why Goku said Kaioken, but what the subtitle said King Kai Fist. So let me actually clarify this thanks to Herms. Herms says that Kaioken, Kaio basically means World King, Lord of Worlds by the Viz Media translation, or King Kai, the Funimation translation. Now Ken means fist, and that's usually an extension to the end of an attack like Solar Flare. In Japanese, it is Taiyoken, which means Sun Fist attack. So Crunchyroll decided to basically replace Kaio with King Kai and then translate Ken, so it is King Kai Fist. It makes a lot of sense. But now I want you to pay attention to this move that Goku did, because that's not the first time we actually see this. We actually saw this move in the Resurrection of Vest special, where they actually reanimated scenes from Goku versus Frieza, and Goku does the move right there. Now, in the great words of the wise Geekdom 101, I was a great prognosticator, because hours before the episode came out, I actually gave an accurate explanation as to what would happen in the episode and why Zamasu had a weakness. Let's listen to this. This happened right before the episode. You can't be immortal and not be immortal at the same time, so that is a conflict of interest. And that, my friends, is gonna be Zamasu's biggest weakness. Because the Potara earrings are not going to decide which one is better. Are we gonna take the immortality or are we not gonna take the immortality? So you know what it does? It takes both. Now the subtitle said that Haru calls Trunks, Trunks. But that's not actually what he calls him. In reality, he calls him Oni-chan, which actually means like older brother. So that was a little weird that they didn't do that in the animation, in the subtitles. But that's okay. But that's not the only reason why I have this shot. Pay attention to the guy behind Mai. Notice that he has a shirt on. Well, look, in the next frame, he suddenly doesn't have a shirt. It's gone. But then in the frame after that, the shirt is back. So that was an animation mistake, and every episode has a bunch of animation mistakes, but I'm not gonna point to every single one of them, or else this will be like a 1-hour video. Goku says, last time when we fused, they said we wouldn't be able to part again. And what he's actually referring to is the old Kai.
Hey, how long will the people stay joined for, old Kai?
The power of the earrings has no time limit. It lasts forever.
And I'm actually gonna be doing a video that it's called an anime theory, and it's going to reveal the real reason that Vegito has a 1-hour limit. And it's not what you think. Okay, it's a hidden message. So I'm gonna be doing that video over the weekend, hopefully for next week. But anyways, right now, he explains, but we did diffuse. Why is that? And there's actually an explanation. And basically, as soon as the force field was brought down, he diffused. But there's also controversy that maybe it exactly hit the 1-hour limit when they actually let the shield down. So guys, I'm definitely gonna clarify that in my anime theory video. When Vegito comes in this episode, he says, "All right," and that's actually a direct throwback to the same way that he made an entrance the first time we ever saw him in Dragon Ball Z.
All right!
But now I want you to pay attention to the music that's playing in the background during this scene. You may think that that's coming from Dragon Ball Super OST, but in fact it is not. Again, this one is coming from the Dragon Ball Kai 2014 OST, and the title of the song is Super Saiyan 3. Now, I found it interesting that instead of saying Goku, Vegeta says Kakarot. And some of you may be confused, like, why does Vegeta and Kakarot make Vegito? Well, in English, it doesn't make that much sense, but in Japanese, it actually makes a lot of sense. And I'm so happy they decided to say Vegito Blue instead of Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. That would be so much more complicated. I love the irony here, because Zamasu keeps talking about how the gods are too beautiful, and in fact, he was beautiful until this episode when he became ugly. So the moment he became ugly, that basically symbolizes that he is a goner. Now pay attention to the music in this scene. That song, alright, I'm not going to talk about every single song, but this is going to be the last song that I mentioned. But again, that's not coming from the Dragon Ball Super OST. This one is coming from the Dragon Ball Kai 2014 OST. And the title of this song is No More. For the second time, Vegito uses the Spirit Sword, and it looks absolutely epic. Now, Zamasu is doing something similar, but instead it is called the Fierce God Slicer, which is a variation of the one that Goku Black uses, which is called the God Split Cut, which is a variation of the one that Future Zamasu uses, which is called the Aura Slide. Thanks to Xenoverse 2, of course. Now here we have a Bible reference, because Zamasu says, I have taken the sins of mortals and the failure of gods in this body. And that is very similar to John chapter 1 verse 9. Behold the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. And in fact, Zamasu does want to take the sins of the world, because he does say it for the world. So there are a ton of Bible references, and there's a few more coming up. And here is the second Bible references, because Zamasu says why gods and mortals share similar forms, and that is a direct reference to Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. So I love the fact that the writers are very intelligent to make these references and connections. Now remember how in the beginning of this video I talked about these two characters having a connection with Trunks? Well, right here it is showing that again, because he was able to create a sword out of a broken sword. But this is not just an ordinary sword, this is a sword of God. And the reason I say that is because this is a direct reference to Ephesians chapter 6 verse 17, and it says the sword of the life spirit, which is the Lord of God. So that is from Ephesians 6:17, and again that is the reference with the sword of Trunks. And because this is the Lord of God and the sword of the spirit, that is why Future Trunks was able to stab him and pretty much kill him. Well, not fully kill him just yet, but definitely destroy his body, because of the symbolism that this sword represents. This sword represents the life of God, the spirit of life of all the people on earth. Now, a lot of you probably noticed this, but the final Kamehameha, that's actually coming straight from the video games, and I'm so happy that they made it canon. Don't worry guys, we're almost to the end. So now we have a clash of swords. You got the clash of a false god, which is Zamasu. Remember, the two young kids, they said that he is the false god. But now you have the sword of an actual god and the spirits of people, and that is the one that Future Trunks holds. Now, one thing that I found interesting is that Android 8 is actually giving off energy to Trunks, and even though he's an android, he still has the life force inside of him. Even the sea turtle at the Kame house is giving him life force, and that is how Future Trunks is able to create the Genki Dama and put it into a sword. So you might as well call it the spirit sword. I kind of like the way that sounds. Now this shot right here is actually a direct throwback to episode 57, except back then he was immortal, so that didn't have any effect on him. But now it's payback time, and I really love the way they connect episodes by episodes, and I love doing these analysis. What I also find interesting is that Future Trunks is not having it. He goes straight for the nuts, alright? He goes from the nuts upwards, which is very different how he did it against Frieza. Back in the day, he actually went up and down. So this is really showing you that he has no love, sympathy, or mercy for Zamasu. He wants him to suffer by the balls for killing all those innocent people. Thanks for watching guys. Make sure you support my good friends at Swag Wave and watch that video of Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black versus Lord Beerus. You guys are going to be really mind blown at the quality of the animation, the stop motion, the voice actors, absolutely insane. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel and check them out. Watch that video and share it with your friends, and I will see you guys tomorrow.